All right, surface area of cubes and prisms. A triangular prism is 15.1 yards long and has a triangular face with a base of 12 yards and a height of 8 yards. The other two sides of the triangle are 10 yards. What is the surface area of the triangular prism? All right, so first let's start with the triangle. The triangular prisms have two triangles that are identical. All right, so it's saying it has a base of 12 yards, so 12 yards, and a height of 8 yards. So the height is 8 yards. So we're going to do the area of a triangle formula. So that's base times height divided by 2. So we got A equals 12 yards times 8 yards divided by 2. So A equals, you should know 12 times 8 is 96. And yards times yards is yards squared divided by 2. And A equals 96 divided by 2 is 48. So 48 yards squared. So that means this is 48 yards squared. So if you have another triangle of those same dimensions, 12 yards by 8 yards, that's also going to be 48 yards squared. But then the problem says the two other sides of the triangle are 10 yards each. So like this is 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, and 10 yards. And we know on triangular prisms, you got rectangles coming out of that. And it's telling you that this line, the height on this is going to be 15.1. So 15.1 yards. So that means we're going to have two rectangles, one on this side, 15.1 by 10, and one on this side, 15.1 by 10 for the rectangle on that side, and 15.1 by 10 for the rectangle on that side. So let me go ahead and draw those identical ones. So 10 yards and 15.1 yards, 15.1 yards, 10 yards. So for this, I'm gonna use the area of a rectangle formula, which is base times height. So I got A equals 15.1 yards times 10 yards equals 15.1 times 10. I just moved my decimal to the right one time, so like that. So it's gonna be 151. Yards times yards is yards squared. So this is 151 yards squared, 151 yards squared. And then for our last rectangle that's on the bottom, as you can see, this line's 12, and this line that's 15.1, like that's going to be 15.12, and that's going to be 15.1 as well. So it's 12 by 15.1. So I got 15.1 yards by 12 yards. So again, I'm going to use my area of a rectangular formula. So A equals base 15.1 yards times 12 yards equals. So let me come over to my handy dandy calculator and see what I can come up with. So I got 15.1 times 12, and that is 181.2. So I got 181.2, and yards times yards is yards squared. So this is 181.2 yards squared. So now I have my 5 areas. I'm just gonna add them all up. So 48 plus 48 plus 151 plus 151 plus 181.2. So let's do that. All right, 48 plus 48 plus 151 plus 151 plus 181.2 equals 579.2. So our answer is going to be 579.2 square yards. I know that was a lot of work, but it wasn't too difficult. It just took a long time.